What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I would say this is a good sign. This is a good sign for things to come for the Clippers. To hear Ty Lue speak on, his two superstars in regards to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, where he speaks and says, the door is definitely still open for them to return. And whether it's at the end of this season, whether it's a couple of games left, or even in the postseason, if it's okay for them to return. And I thought that was I thought that was good to hear, because you want to hear your coaches and the players around have confidence that that the star players are coming back and that they can make a run and that they can go out there and play again, because they're getting very, very close to their destination, which is returning on the basketball court. And the reports have definitely widened in regards to both of these players. PG, his situation with the UCL injury, it was said that it's more likely for him to return, but the door is still open for both of them in regards to what Ty Lue is saying, because he basically was saying if the doctors clear them to play, whether at the end of the season or whether in the playoffs, if the doctor clears them to play and they're able to play, he's going to put them out there. And that's exactly what, he should say. And that's exactly what, should happen, because I think both of them will play. I think both of them will make a return this season. Whether or not this season or in the playoffs, I think either way they'll make a return. And, Ty Lue did make some good, an interesting comment too, when he said, from going from like a 0 to 100 is like from the regular season to the playoffs. Going to the playoffs, you going at 100%, you going at 100 speed. Everything is faster. So to come back from an injury to step right into that is going to be tough. And I definitely agree with Ty Lue on that, because when you think about it, when you play in the regular season, you're playing night to night, different teams, different places, different cities, things like that. But when you play in the postseason, it's a do or die mentality. Even though you have a 7-game stretch where the best out of 7, best of 7-game series, it's still a do or die situation. And that's how the players play all the time, with a do or die mentality. So with that mentality that they play with, they have to play on a different accord. And when you play like that, you have to understand, what comes with that. You can be a top seeded team, but you can get knocked off because if you're not ready for that playoff atmosphere, you can get knocked off by a lower seeded team. It happens all the time. So Ty Lue is definitely right. When you get, come off an injury, coming straight into the playoffs, you got to be at your best, as best as you can be, because you're trying to come into a atmosphere where it's do or die, win or go home, and you're not even in rhythm yet. And see, that right there, is a big thing said, a key thing that was said, because as I said before, it's kind of a tricky situation. Do you let Kawhi and them come back in the playoffs with no rhythm, trying to win a do or die, play-in tournament game, win or go home type game? Those games aren't best of 7. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, the question is, do you let them come back then with that type of pressure, or do you wait till next year and punt this season away and let them come back next year and be the scariest team in the NBA, which they will be, depending on if they stay healthy? And that question always arises because, or it's arisen here lately, because it's a very good question to ask. Me personally, I am under the mindset of, if both players are healthy, let them come back, let them step on the floor, let them give it a go. Because as I said before, no championship is guaranteed this year, or no championship is guaranteed next year or the year after. And you only have them, you got them locked up for at least 2 more years. So you got to try to find a way to squeeze a championship out of this operation. So, letting this season go by and letting them, if they were able to come back, hypothetically, and they just let them sit out this season and played it out and win the next season, you can't punt seasons away like that when you have opportunities to win. Right now, there's no big 3, there's no big 4, anything like that, type super teams out there. So the chances of winning a championship is more wide open than even what it possibly was even last year. Because last year, up until, James Harden and Kyrie got hurt, everybody thought the Nets would be just the team that would just walk through the East and, win a championship, going to the finals. And definitely, even though they didn't play a lot of games together, with the talent that they had, you definitely saw that they were definitely good enough to do that. So, I mean, the chances of winning a championship last year were slim, but when they did get hurt, that definitely opened the doors for a lot of other teams. But Kawhi got hurt, so it definitely stopped the momentum of the Clippers. But, hopefully if they can get everybody back, on track and everything and back playing here, before the season ends, or like maybe the start of the playoffs, since Ty Lue is okay with them coming back in the playoffs, whether it starts, before it starts or when it starts, which is a good thing. Hopefully they can get everybody back to make a run. But, right now it's really wide open for them, because now that James Harden got traded to the 76ers, it makes the NBA more even now. It seems like everybody has one or two superstars on a team and a bunch of role players. And that's exactly what will benefit the Clippers the most, because they got two dynamic perimeter wing players who can affect the game on both ends of the floor and drop 30 points on the other end of the floor. One shoots more efficient than the other one in Kawhi Leonard, but the other one still can get you 25, 30 points himself. So, and Paul George. So, there's definitely a lot to take from that. And then, like I said, with the additions of Norman Powell and Covington, now their defense is even a little bit better than what it was. You know what I'm saying? So they're already a good defensive team throughout this season. Now you add two players like that who could play defense and knock down a three. That makes them superiorly dangerous, amongst any other team in the West or in the NBA. So, their depth is probably the best in the NBA. And to me, besides Eric Spoelstra, they probably, in most people's eyes, I do believe it, but in most people's eyes, they got the best coach in the NBA in Ty Lue. And that's just, the way it is. Ty Lue, and what he's done with this team has been amazing. And you got to give him credit for that. But what it all comes down to is the superstars coming back and taking over and getting in the driver's seat and driving this team all the way to a finals. That's exactly what needs to happen. And like I said, waiting on next season after, that's not an option. Only way that's an option is if Kawhi and them medically are not cleared, as Ty Lue had stated. He said if they're medically cleared to play and they want to come out there and play, he gonna leave it up to them. And I definitely agree with that, because like I said, you gotta leave it up to the players at some point. If you're medically cleared to play and you want to go out there and give it a go out there and go. No matter whether we're in the playoffs or not, it doesn't matter, because like I said, it's all about getting that championship. This whole operation is built for one thing, and that's a championship, and a championship only. Everything else is irrelevant. Stats, numbers, their record during the regular season, all that is irrelevant. It's all about winning a championship. And the only way to do that is for everybody to be healthy and be on the court and give it a go. And that's why I said my personal opinion, whether letting Kawhi and them sit out the rest of the season going into next season, or letting them play if they're available to play, whether in the playoffs or not, my opinion is let them go ahead and play, because if they're available and if they want to give it a go. Because like I said, you got to try to win a championship now, because it's wide open right now. The Lakers aren't that great. The Warriors are reeling to me. Klay Thompson isn't the same. And the Suns, like I said, they're good, but I'm just not a big believer in their operation, because I'm not a big believer in Chris Paul. Never have been. He's a great player, always has been a great player, but I don't think he's a championship type point guard. I think he has high IQ for the game, don't get me wrong, but winning championships, it's just another level to it. I don't think Chris Paul is on that level, unless he has like maybe a LeBron James or a Kawhi Leonard or maybe a KD on his team. Then he could win a championship, because you got somebody so dynamic just as yourself to basically take all the pressure off you and allow you to play more free while they dominate, because they're better players than you. So, if he played with players like that, it'd be different. But I'm just not a big fan in their whole, thing. Because if they play the Suns, it's going to come down to coaching. And Ty Lue is a better coach than Monty Williams. Case closed. And Kawhi Leonard is the best player on the floor if those two teams play. case closed. So I just don't believe in the Suns either over the Clippers if they're healthy. But the main thing is we'll see how it goes. Hopefully with Ty Lue leaving the door open for them to make a return and everything like that, that definitely gives you hope, as in like, you know, they will make a return, and at hope as in like, you know, it might be sooner than what you think, you know. But the Clippers are a very private organization. We have to respect that. And hopefully better news comes out that both of them come back and they can make a run in the championship. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Cali out.